All right, hey everyone, we are live. Welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin. I'm your host, Vays, and I am live with Joe Sass. He's already got going on his cigar. I still have to light mine. And Joe, how you doing today, man?
Pretty good, thank you. Thank you for the invite. Enjoying a beautiful day out here. Weather's cooled off from that heat wave, so gotta say, living the good life out here. Living the good life out here.
I did turn it on. That's off. That's on, right?
Yeah. Here.
What am I missing here? It's not me.
So
all right. This is why.
Yeah, just continue for a sec.
It's all good. I have another one. I'm grilling ribs over here.
It's been lit. It's just that we can't see because it's light out. Here, it's lit. It's lit, Tone. It's lit. It's just we couldn't see because shit. He's using some applewood smoked cigar lighting techniques. Not unheard of. Nothing uncommon here. Just
Oh, we just couldn't see it. It was lit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We just couldn't see it. Too much light.
It produces such a effervescent blue flame that in these daytimes it's hard to see such an ethereal, beautiful flame. So everyone, I happy to be back. Happy to be on stream. I see some comments. Yo, what's up, everyone? Thank you for the warm welcomes. Lost a lot of weight. Yeah, thank you. And looking good. I appreciate the kind words. Roll a blunt for the occasion. I can't say that's a bad idea. I'm not maybe some CBD in there since 50 states legal.
I think you ought to fuel there, Joe.
Thank you. And cheers to everyone who I've missed out on. Tone Vays, I have the same. Hey, Tone, your boy has the same chairs.
Bernoulli, oh, yeah, nice.
Bernoulli has the same chairs. How funny.
Speaking of Bernoulli, we can send them a link. He can join us.
Bernoulli, Tone says he can send you the link if you want to join. Now, PMS, you guys still keep... I actually was on the phone with Tyler yesterday. And Tyler's doing great,
Socrates, Tyler?
Yeah.
Yeah, been on the phone with him. I tried to get them to DR, man. Couldn't do it. Hey, I'm going to send a link to my moderators. See if anybody wants to join.
Very happy and healthy, though. Proud to report. I mean.
What is that? Oh, we got rum now. Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we got I'm sticking to my extra añejo tequila. I'm in the woods. It's the best I could do at the store, but it's pretty good actually. Surprisingly, I really like the unknown extra añejos. They're usually run cheap, like $50, and they're almost as good as some of the more expensive ones.
What about brandy?
Brandy? No, we're good.
Thank you. No, I'm good. Thank you. I really appreciate it. This is more than enough. Thank you.
All right, Joe. Cheers.
Cheers.
Limoncello later.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I still have
here
time.
with the family. That was my dad. He was in DR as well with us.
Yeah, now me and Tone's dad are bros.
What about temperature? It's okay?
Temperature is perfect, actually, but I'm running out of wood in the smoker. So we're about to add some in there.
Well, don't ask me.
I'm going to zoom the camera in on the grill. There it goes. And I'm going to throw another log in there. And then I'll show you guys what is on the grill once the sun comes, once there's a cloud or something.
What's up, people?
There you go. You know what? Let me
back to Ireland, Dave.
Let me put this here so Joe can see it better.
I'm just saying what's up.
We will do screen share. We are going to take a look at the price.
You could... Oh, and this is comments too.
Yeah, it's the same comments.
Oh, cool. All right.
Let me turn up the brightness.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to. Oh,
there we go.
Perfect.
This is a touch screen. Show you brightness here as well. How about okay.
Oh yeah. So the instigation, if I remember right, Joe went bearish quite close to the top. Thought it was insane at the time. Curious what he thinks now. So first, I think it's like, Tone, do you want to talk while you're loading up wood?
That's fine as long as I hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so one thing that I thought it was important as far as like market, general market theory, market structure here, price discovery and so forth, is when you engage in emotional buying, you end in emotional selling. And the signature to me of emotional buying was the distance between all-time highs started getting lower and lower. I think it started at 5%, maybe 5K, and then it dropped down to 4% and then 2.5%. And that was after the same approximate retrace, 20%, 17%, 25% from each of those three, 62, 60, and 65 all-time highs. So I think it's important to note exhaustion. That's how I was able to make that decision at the time. And then also to note that the call ultimately was that it's a bear market, and I believe in the 80% rule with Bitcoin bear markets. I keep it at that until further notice. So basically, I'm at I'm personally at around an 11,000 target with Bitcoin, but I think 14,000 makes a lot of sense, and that's where I start becoming an interested buyer. But that's just my crazy, insane opinion again.
So you're still bearish right now?
I'm expecting this relief rally to carry us a bit further to 28 to 33K.
Really? Because yesterday's move really scared me.
Yeah, so that's why I want to, we'll take a look at the charts here. But yesterday's move, to be honest, Friday's stuff, I can't let it get to me. Whatever happens on the weekly close is just, to me, games. Especially on the day, Friday, the weekly close day, I just can't trust that information as far as how it equates to the grand scheme of things. So as long as the weekend plays a normal role, I think we did reject off the CME gap above, in the 24,000 range or something like that. So I think it is possible. That's why we rejected. But with Friday being such a crazy day, I would expect the weekend to hopefully be, maybe carry a little bit of that over, be a little calm, and then we can rebuild some of our structure. We haven't really made a lower low, looking at the chart. You guys aren't screen share here, but even with that violent move down, looking at the daily, that was a big move down in one swing. Painful. Broke moving average there. Yeah, it was definitely devastating, but I think it was over exaggerated. Yeah, RSI grinded real low there. I mean, yeah, this is looking pretty fresh. I mean, just based on these indicators, is that a MACD in there? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the daily chart.
Yeah, this is looking pretty, to be honest, just on the RSI alone, I like what I see. And I love the RSI.
I hate the CMF though. Look at that.
I don't use it. I don't know. I can't say I'm skilled enough to know what that indicates.
Oh, Jimmy Song has joined.
Jimmy.
Oh, look at this. Oh, we weren't even doing screen share.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, I didn't.
Hey, Jimmy, we are live with Joe Sass. It's been ages. How are you, Jimmy?
Jimmy.
It's been good. How are you guys?
Excellent.
Good. The charts are gonna have to wait because I want to know what's going on. Am I gonna see you at BitBlock Boom next week?
Yeah, I'm in town. But yeah, I'll be traveling pretty soon after that. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not speaking there. I'm just going there to chill with you guys, and I fly out on Sunday. The day it ends, I'm flying to Panama.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll be around that whole time. And yeah, basically, yeah, it'll be fun.
What's going on? Well, how you been, man? It's been like at least 6 months. Then we did that show on BIP 119, which didn't actually go anywhere. And but what's the latest on BIP 19? What's going on in Bitcoin developer world? I'm kind of stepping away from that. There's just, at this point, Bitcoin's technology is gonna increase very incrementally. Oh, Mechanic is joining us. Look at this.
Oh,
I just blasted.
This is a Mexico crew right now.
I just blasted the link everywhere. I think Mechanic's still stuck in Canada in the Socialist Republic of Canada. No shirt either. I should take my shirt off.
Man. Oh my
Dude, that's way too much hair showing.
You know what? I'm gonna turn it off. How you doing, guys?
No, you
I
can
liked
turn
it.
it back
I
on.
liked it better.
Is it
I
that
thought
hot?
remnant vibes, Bitcoiners. I thought everyone was gonna be like, "Yeah, bro," and then take all your clothes off and just.
I can go shirtless though. I haven't worked out in 2 years, which is so sad. I got a plan for that. You saw my plan. We're so doing it, man. You and I are gonna get ripped in 30 days in Mexico. We're gonna bring in a personal trainer. We're gonna be in the middle of nowhere at Jimmy's Rancho San Satoshi. We're gonna spend half the day building villas and the other half the day working out, getting in shape, and eating right.
Dude, that is building villas is working out too. So that's a double serious business there.
What are you smoking?
Also,
Joe's the cigar expert here. What am I smoking?
so these are some hand rolls from a Dominican roller using Dominican binder, wrapper, and filler. Yeah, exactly. And It's done in here in the United States. Interestingly enough, I pay less than in the Dominican Republic for hand-rolled Dominican cigars. So yeah, we're smoking just some nice local hand rolls. And I also wanted to say hi, a personal hi to you and hi to Jimmy. I haven't had that chance for quite some time. So hi to both of you.
All right, how much time do you guys have? Because if one of you has to jump over 15 minutes, that's who we're talking to.
I wasn't planning on being on the stream very long, so let's leave it there.
So Jimmy, let's go to you. So give us an update. Whatever happened to BIP 119? What else is coming down the pipe for Bitcoin? And when is Ethereum going to implode?
Well, I mean, I think Ethereum's already imploded, but yeah, the Ethereum 2.0 staking and all that stuff is just kind of getting really crazy because the OFAC restrictions are almost surely going to be a thing on their platform, and a lot of people are kind of criticizing them for it and stuff like that. The big thing to know is that they're moving to proof of stake. It looks like the merge is going to happen fairly soon. But the main thing is like 2/3 of the staking is controlled by these giant entities that have already announced that they're going to be doing, complying with OFAC. And if you have 2/3, then you basically control the network, right? Like you can, they're never going to have anything from Tornado Cash or anything tainted by Tornado Cash move again, because they're the people that get to decide what goes into the blocks, and they're OFAC compliant, and they can't include any of that stuff. So in a sense, it's a big thing in the Ethereum community at the moment, because they're like, what the hell? I like, this isn't what I signed up for. We've been saying it all along that it's completely centralized, and it's just kind of hilarious that like they're like, oh, we could do a user activated soft fork on Ethereum. It's like, that's not happening, guys. You don't run your own nodes. So how's that even going to be possible? So we did talk about so that's definitely happening on Ethereum. On the Bitcoin side, I don't think OpsCTV is going anywhere. There was some chatter a couple of months ago, and there was going to be some signaling or whatever, but Jeremy backed off of that. And I don't know, like there just hasn't been that much. I think Vladimir Vanderlaan is no longer lead maintainer. I think somebody else, Peter, also is not a maintainer anymore. Gloria Zhao is now a maintainer.
Yeah, what's going on? All the Bitcoin core devs are leaving. Of course, the shitcoiners.
No, they're not leaving. They're no longer maintaining. The thing about Peter that you have to realize is that he does a lot of stuff. And he's
I've met Peter many times at the BitDevs meetups. I mean, I think Peter is awesome, but Peter is also not the kind of guy that's going to be going out every day. He's got plenty of time to code. The guy is like lives to code.
Well, the thing is, like, he's been doing a lot of different things, and he actually hasn't merged anything as a maintainer. So he's like, it doesn't make sense for me to keep this status if I'm not actually doing anything with it.
But he's honest. Well, like, here's the thing, right? Like, the one thing that people don't, and this is my biggest, like, this is like the biggest misconception in the space, and shitcoiners take full advantage of it. Like, the Bitcoin developers, the Bitcoiners in general, those are like true Bitcoiners. Those have been around only Bitcoin for a decade now. They're some of the most honest, ethical people I've ever met. And I don't care if Peter doesn't like execute any commits. I trust him with, admin credentials.
But I mean, the thing is, like, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. And if he's not, he's one of the 5 people that can merge, and he's not actually merging stuff, then he should sort of like give up that role, because he wasn't doing anything with it. And there's always like a large backlog of things that people want to merge, and it's up to the maintainers to go look at that and say, okay, well, this has enough acts to merge or not, or whatever. And there just simply wasn't that much that he was doing with respect to that. So he recognized this, and he said to him, he made that clear. Hey, like, I haven't, merged anything in over a year. I should probably step away from this particular role and let somebody else do it because
Hey, Jimmy,
there's-
real quick. I want to make sure that you approve. Joe, I might need you as a cameraman.
No, I saw it before. I like the offset smoker. I'm not sure about that brand though. But yeah,
It's all I got at the moment.
uh-huh.
So here's the thing. So I'm gonna be the cameraman here. I'm gonna grab this.
Bye, guys.
And so the thing is, I already wrapped up the pork, the spare ribs.
Yeah, you
So
gotta wet that thing. Did you wet it?
What?
The ribs, otherwise it's gonna get dry. You gotta spray it or something.
No, I did. So
Okay.
I smoked the ribs for like 3 hours, the pork
Mhm.
ribs. Then
Okay,
I
and it
wrapped
has
it
good
up.
color already. It's like reddish.
Yeah,
Okay.
it did. There's a video of it. And then inside that foil, hopefully people will see it. Oh, wait, let me
Mhm.
get the camera up. Inside that foil, there is butter, there is apple cider vinegar, crushed garlic, like a half a stick of butter.
Mhm.
So there's plenty of liquid in there. Salt, peppercorns, and like some parsley, oregano, a little bit of that, a little bit of dried green stuff.
Okay.
And I'm
Yeah.
keeping the temperature between 200 and 250.
Okay, yeah,
And-
that's pretty good. It's gonna take a while though. You're
No, 7
probably-
hours. 7
Okay,
hours.
all right. And do you have a temperature gauge? Have you been taking?
I do.
temperatures?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
keeping an eye on the temperature. Like I said, I'm keeping it. I mean, occasionally it goes.
No,
over
not
250.
the exterior. You need the temperature of the meat.
No, I'm not that fancy, but I've been.
Oh, dude, you really need to know that. That's how you know it's done. How do you not have a temperature
This is the
gauge?
best dad girl talk conversation I've heard.
You
ever.
need to know what the temperature is. If it doesn't get past that stall, it's gonna be inedible. It's gonna be so tough, and you
No,
don't know unless you know
I've-
the internal temperature. The internal temperature has to be above 190 on the
No,
pork ribs.
I've done this before. It comes out great. I do this every few weeks. I've gotten the hang of it without the internal temperature.
He's by
gauge.
touch. He's
I'm
doing
old-
it by
I'm old
touch.
school,
Jimmy.
man.
All right,
He's
all right. You
doing
could do it by touch too, but like you need to know the temperature. 'Cause that's how you know it's done. Otherwise, it's gonna be tough and inedible. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, go back to the
thing is
Bitcoin
on
stuff.
here.
Yeah, the BIP 119's definitely fizzled out. I don't think there was anywhere near enough support. I half suspect that Jeremy's pretty depressed because of that a little bit. But I mean, like it's just not happening. Yeah, but the two of the maintainers are now no longer maintainers, right? Like
So who are the 5 maintainers now?
let's see, Mesh Collider, Marco.
Who's Mesh Collider?
I don't actually. Samuel Dobson. I've actually never met him. I don't think.
See, that's concerning. Well, like I'd like to know who the big.
He's
I like
been
to
there a
know
long
who's
time.
maintaining my money.
I mean, Tone. Like you don't know most of the devs. Like that's just the reality. I mean, for you to be concerned that, like, come on, man, you're not a. You don't know any of these people. I mean, like you knew Peter,
Well,
but
I don't have.
have you ever met
personally, but
Jonas
I'd like to know
Schnelli?
who
Right?
they are.
Like have you met Marco or Michael Ford
No,
or
but I
any of
haven't
these
met
people?
Marco, but I haven't met Marco, but at least I'm familiar with Marco. I've seen him,
Yeah,
I've
because
seen what he's
I've
been
told you
doing for
his name. That's about it.
Well, right, but
like,
I've already known Marco for like years. I've known of him.
oh, okay, yeah, but I probably met him, but I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. But I mean, the thing is, they have a reputation online, and that's what matters. And there's Mesh Collider, there's Fanquake, who's Michael Ford, there's Marco Falke, there's a couple. Gloria is now one, and then Vladimir hasn't named the successor, so it's basically 4 people at the moment. But they'll probably have more IRC meetings and be like, hey, who makes sense to go, make into a maintainer that can do the merges and stuff like that. So. And that's where we are. And I honestly think Vladimir's been kind of burned out for a few years already. So I think it was time for him to kind of step away a little bit. and just get back to whatever it is. He might come back to doing similar things. But I'm Peter works on a lot of other stuff, and he's been doing that for a while. Who knows where the other stuff goes, but I mean that's the state of core at the moment. There's a lot of the innovation right now is happening on Lightning, and honestly, a lot of the Taproot stuff just hasn't percolated through the industry at all. So it's going to take some time, and this is what it takes. I mean, like I don't think any hardware wallet supports like a Taproot multi-sig that well yet. So until we get stuff like that, a lot of the other features need to percolate and become standard first. So I don't think we're going to be talking about like merging any crazy features like covenants and things like that for a while. Things are honestly kind of a lot of people are working on a lot of different things, as is always done in Bitcoin. There's a lot of interesting Lightning things that are happening. A lot of things getting built, and that's what happens during bear markets. Is a lot of people just sort of put their head down and work, and that's what's been happening. It's obviously a lot of drama around Ethereum. I personally think it's kind of like that thing that was happening during the fork stuff in 2017, 2018, because I think the proof of work fork is going to continue. So there's a lot of people that have been buying Ethereum in order to own both forks after. And we'll see what happens with that. It feels like sort of like one of those Ethereum Classic things. One will probably be overwhelming, yeah.
I'm gonna go find my videos from 3 years ago when I coined the term ETW, Ethereum work. I'm gonna try to claim royalties on that when the other fork is just decentralized.
If you didn't copyright it back, that's not going to happen. But regardless, there's plenty of stuff going on in that, and most of that drama is happening within the Ethereum ecosystem. I mean, within Bitcoin, I think TikTok next block. It's we're more than halfway to the next halvening. It looks like it's a lot of mining is just continuing. There are all sorts of
I got a question
but
I got a question on mining for you, but real quick before we get there, I just want to do Mel has joined us as well. So has Bernoulli the fish has joined us. How are you guys today? Mel is going to be helping organize the Unconfiscatable conference. The prior my original partner in Unconfiscatable, Mike Jarmusch with Lightning Ventures. I'm hoping he'll join us as well, just to chat. Just send him a link. Bernoulli, hey guys, say hi. Just where you are, what you up to, and then I got some more questions for Jimmy before he has to go.
Oh, all I really came to say was you and Jimmy need to get signed up for chess at Bitcoin.
I'm signed up for chess. I'm verbally signed up. I just got to pay the $30.
You're verbally signed up? Okay, good. Jimmy, how about you?
I haven't signed up for anything. Honestly, I have a lot of stuff to do. I don't think I can spend hours on chess.
I think you should.
I don't think so.
It's at like 6 p.m. on a Saturday. What are you going to be doing at Diplock Boom at 6 p.m. on a Saturday?
I'm going to be spending time with my family, Tone. I do have one of those.
Oh, at Diplock Boom?
Why? It's in Austin, so I have my family here.
The song crew.
Help me spread the word. We need like 10 more players.
I'm sure you'll get last minute ones. There's a lot of people.
For $30.
Hey, Mel,
for sure.
I'm not worried. There'll be like 600 people at Bitblock Boom. Like half the Bitcoin people are outright nerds. They all know how to play chess.
The second someone sees a poker table, the man goes up.
Personally, Gary's a little worried. So I'm just making sure.
I'm not worried at all. Like, look, I had a whole conference in the Dominican Republic. Half the people decided to come in the last week, and now you have to like fly out. Like it's like I'm not worried. Chess is going to be full. We have to like tell people they can't play. So I'm not worried at all. Yeah. All right, Bernoulli, where you at? What are you up to these days? You're still working for a miner?
Yep. Yeah, building out megawatts like crazy. In the I-35 corridor area, north of Austin, south of Austin. There are a lot of miners, a lot of ASICs available right now.
There are actually, surprisingly.
It's really interesting. But yep, still here doing that.
Are you able to
taking-
share, like, since you're working for a miner? I got like one sip left. I have to refill. Cheers over here as well on this side. Not everybody's on camera. We got some more people coming as well. My friend Rob's coming. He used to have a channel called Everything Star Wars. He's been on my podcast. I've been on his, talking about Star Wars. But lately he was basically covering the Johnny Depp trial. Like every day doing streams about Johnny Depp. It was incredible how many people cared about the whole Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial fiasco. Like I honestly couldn't care less. That has absolutely nothing to do with my interests or my life whatsoever. So I couldn't care less, but I was amazed how many people cared about that.
I'm not gonna lie. I cared 10% about that. I cared 10% about that. I was interested. There was a story, and it was like, it was a woman's word in America versus a man. With the like, and we all know how this ends 9 out of 10, 99 out of 100 times. I was very interested in how this played out.
Were you
So
paying attention to that? Yeah.
she was 110%.
Yeah.
I loved the memes. The memes were fantastic.
Yeah.
I was paying 100% attention to the memes.
Yeah. So my friend,
That's what brought me in.
but he's gonna come,
Exactly.
but he's gonna come here too late. He's gonna come here after the stream already ends. He's not getting here until like another 4 or 5 hours. But yeah, it was really interesting. So he was covering that trial with his YouTube channel. All right, so Jimmy and Bernoulli. So here's a mining question for you, because people are so confused. I actually hated the fact that Mechanic and I argued this many times. I hated the fact that mining left China and the majority of the miners are now in the United States. I didn't like that. But even under the scenario where 80% of all mining is being done in the United States, can we explain why there will never be such a thing as a censored Bitcoin transaction? So you want to take this, Jimmy? Like, how come there has never been the OPEC list, no OPEC list, irrelevant. There has never been a censored Bitcoin transaction, and there will never be one, even if 80% of the miners are in America, even if 80% of the miners say they will not process a flagged Bitcoin transaction. Why will that transaction still eventually get into the blockchain, and these compliant miners will build on top of that transaction, and it will never be double spent?
Yeah, the main reason is just the way the game theory works. First of all, you have 20%. If it's 80% in the US, you have 20% outside the US. And presumably, they will include those transactions because it will be economically rational to do so. Basically, what OFAC lists and things do is make it economically, it adds a cost to the miner to include those transactions. But for people outside that jurisdiction, it means that they get free money. They get fees off of transactions that OFAC would exclude or whatever. The bigger issue here, though, with Ethereum is that they have account-based an account-based ledger. So basically, every address is an account, and what you instead of a UTXO-based ledger, an address in Ethereum is an account. So you have to know the entire history to know the balance, among other things. But it also makes it kind of expensive to open new accounts. Whereas in Bitcoin, it's UTXO based. So if you're using best practices, there's no way for people to add you to an OFAC list unless they have like an XPub or something, in which case you can just go and get another XPub or something like that. So you have this weird incentive where everybody knows who you are, especially with like Ethereum domain names and stupid stuff like that. And if you get put on the OFAC list, it's very easy to censor. But with Bitcoin, you have UTXO based. So like most people, if you start getting censored, you'll just use better privacy, and it'll get in and it'll be hard for OFAC to censor you. So that's layer number one. The layer number two is that you have 20% of the hash rate outside the US, where they have an economically rational incentive to include your transaction, because presumably we'll have higher fees than the other transactions that are not have been included by everybody else. So it'll get in like usually within about 5 blocks. So it'll take an hour instead of 10 minutes, but it'll get in. But if you're using privacy, it'll probably get in just in the 10 minutes, just as normal. It's just a matter of doing that. Now, the thing that the 80% can do is they can orphan blocks that include those transactions. And if the US government demands that, I guarantee most of these miners will leave the US. Now, why is that? It's just very simple math. If you are forced to orphan a block, that now you're having to compete with the other chain, and you're already behind by a block. At that point, you have to catch up. And 80-20, you'll be okay. But if it's like 55-45, it's gonna take many blocks. And I wrote a whole article on like the expected number of blocks to overcome. Like if it's like 55-45, if it's like 51-49, it takes like 100 blocks to overcome that one. That's a very long time to be sustaining essentially what is a state-sponsored attack on Bitcoin. And it doesn't make any financial sense to do so unless you're getting compensated for it. In which case, they're going to have to compensate a lot of money, because that's a long time to be doing that. And if it's just a straight up mandate, hey, you have to orphan blocks, they'll just leave, because it's not worth it. Even if the electricity is low enough, there are these like weird events where you will have a block that comes in with that, and like all these other miners around the world are mining on top of that, and you're trying to do your own chain. You get these incentives such that it's going to be very hard for you to overcome. And think about it. We're in the Bitcoin community. Which side do you think we're going to pick? The OFAC one, or the OFAC compliant one, or the other one? And it's really what we decide that matters. Even if they do overtake, it's not guaranteed that that's going to be Bitcoin, because everybody on the network essentially can determine which side to follow. And it's one command on your Bitcoin node. It is disable block or something like that. You can just say, okay, just ignore this branch. It doesn't matter if it has more proof of work. I'm not following it. And that might be the OFAC branch, and it'll be known immediately. So all of the game theory basically says that you, in order to orphan blocks that are not compliant, it's going to be enormously expensive, and somebody has to compensate. If it's the government, then users have sort of like a trump over that anyway. And if they're not compensating, then the miners are just going to leave. Well, I'm not going to go do that. Like, I can't build on anything after a non-compliant blocks comes in. I'm not going to make any money after that. So I better go mine elsewhere, because I literally cannot make any money with a single transaction that's buried like 7 blocks deep already. You'll soon have 0%, or people joining anonymously pools that are outside the United States or something like that, because it wouldn't make any sense to do so. You can't, if you're a government forcing people to orphan, that's just, you're just destroying the business. It's basically saying you're not allowed to mine, basically. So it's just an impossibility, and it's the game theory works out that way, and thank goodness, because that's one of the ways in which the Bitcoin network is protected.
Gotcha. All right. Fish and Mechanic, do you have anything to add to that? Because then I got some comments. I see Crypto Comments just send an IDR. You're in Indonesia, brother. Check your Telegram. I just sent you the link to this if you want to join us. Crypto Comments is a Russian-speaking YouTube channel about the price of Bitcoin. I'm on that channel, once a month or so. So you're welcome to join us. We are going to talk price in a bit. Fish, and then Mechanic, anything to add to what Jimmy just said?
It's interesting. More than anything, I'm all about the cooling of the ASICs. So not quite as technical as Jimmy. at least not in that area. But I would add, I don't see 80% of the mining ever being in the United States. Maybe 50%, maybe 60%, but I think 80 is a lot. Also, and I posted a link in the chat. It is interesting.
I saw that. I was going to
Marathon.
comment on that. So Marathon Mining has done an incredible job of, using social media. Like everyone thinks Marathon is like one of the biggest miners we have, but in reality, they're not. But they have this impression and persona, and the market cap of their company makes you believe that they're the biggest miner, when in fact they're maybe number 6 in the US alone.
Yeah, something like
They're
that.
not the biggest miner. And I know this because I'm friends with other miners thanks to the Financial Summit. Little plug for the Financial Summit. Bitfarms is a big fan of the Financial Summit. Ben Gagnon is one of my favorite guys. And through him, I really understand the Bitcoin mining space, especially in the US. And while Marathon Mining gives this impression, and their market cap of their publicly traded company creates this illusion that they're just this enormous miner that has a lot of, say in this world of crypto, in reality, they really don't.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of ASICs they can't plug in, from what I hear.
Hey, everybody in the chat, if you have questions, why don't you post them? And then when you're ready, I can ask you guys some questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Mel. All right, Mechanic, your thoughts on what Jimmy said, and then I got questions.
Well, then there's your original point, Ton, which is why can't a miner censor a transaction? And the answer is they can by design. Of course, they can censor a transaction. By default, they'll censor you. Even if you don't pay above a certain threshold as a fee, your transaction is not going to get in at all. We know that. The point is they don't, because they're incentivized against doing so. So you've got to watch as the environment changes and how the incentives change, because everything is based on incentives, especially in Bitcoin. So the thing is, environments change, right? So right now, miners don't get any money from anyone. Their incentives are to do with the price of electricity, the amount of heat they're going to attract by mining in whatever jurisdiction they're choosing, and how much money they make from transaction fees and subsidy. You can completely destroy the incentive structure of mining by subsidizing it, which is why Michael Saylor's efforts were so misguided when it came to trying to prove how green we are and all this sort of pandering to the ESG mob. That was a scary development, because if miners start to comply with government regulations and there starts to become tax incentives if you can prove you're green enough, then the incentives get warped. And once the incentives are warped, then it can be a case that, I make, 60, 200 grand, whatever, every time I find a block, depending on fees. But I also get this 70 grand tax break. And if I want to keep that, there's this small list of transactions I have to censor to do it. And the Bitcoin network will carry on if you censor, right? Those transactions will just go in another block somewhere. But eventually, if that becomes the dominant way of stuff occurring, then they can start to become, it can switch from inclusion to exclusion, right? So it can become eventually a case in the worst scenario where you have transactions have to be basically approved before they even get in, rather than the other way around, which is we can exclude certain transactions. This is kind of like, you brought up the whole Ethereum point, Jimmy, and it was really funny, and it was great fun to dunk on them for it. But I'm kind of jealous of one point of the account-based model, which is in Ethereum, the hand can be forced. If a miner decided to be an asshole and start censoring, in Ethereum, assuming that freshly mined Ethereum work the same way that everything else does, and it's still account-based. I don't actually know if that's the case, but I assume it is. In Ethereum, what they did that was so funny is they started sending illegal ether to big famous addresses, people like Brian Armstrong and all that, just to force. Part of it was trolling, but on the other hand, it was, let's force the hand of regulators. Let's make them see how absurd it is to ban addresses, to ban accounts, because someone's got $10 million of ether they bought on a regulated exchange, it's all fine, and someone sends $100 worth of Tornado Cash, which is now illegal Ethereum, to their account, thus rendering the whole account illegal. They tried to force the hand and make it go, you've just made all of the top ETH holders in the world suddenly have illegal accounts and now they can't spend anything because there's no UTXO model. That's kind of great because it forces the thing to go in a sensible direction. Whereas you can't do that in Bitcoin. If a miner wants to be a dick and mine a block where they start excluding loads of valid transactions, well, valid from the perspective of the Bitcoin network, even if they break a rule that's been superimposed on it by a state entity, you can't do that in Bitcoin. If you get that miner's address and you see that they're a dick and you want to troll them, or you want to make it so that they can no longer spend the coins they just mined, you see the address that the Coinbase transaction paid out to. They got 6.25 new Bitcoins. You can't dust attack it with illegal Bitcoins because of the UTXO model. They can just ignore the dust and spend from the coins they mined. So I was kind of jealous of Ethereum because we can't troll them. Like, if anyone wants to do that, like, don't get me wrong. Ethereum is, everything about it is disadvantageous in relation to Bitcoin. They are going to lose with regard to almost every metric. But I was jealous of that one thing. Like, if Marapool wanted to go with OFAC compliance again, we would dust attack every single one of their addresses whenever they mine a new block, and then they can't spend anything. That would have been hilarious, but unfortunately it's not possible because of the UTXO model. So that all aside, I don't really think it's a foregone conclusion that a transaction will always make its way into the blockchain regardless of what happens, because Bitcoin is game theoretically perfect. Game theory applies in a certain environment, and environments change all the time. So you have to pay close attention to it. And I'm not super optimistic. You can't be. I think Bitcoin has this balance of everyone is thinking worst case scenario pessimistically and adversarially all the time, because that's how you build a robust system. And that results in such a robust system as people have this insanely, amazingly strong confidence in it, which is justified, but you can't have one without the other. It's like the freedom and responsibility dichotomy of Bitcoin. You can't have one without the other. So for every person that is more confident in Bitcoin than anything, you have another person that is thinking about the most extreme edge case scenarios that can actually happen and is planning against them. So we're constantly keeping our eye on that stuff. Government misincentives, we know how bad those can be from everything Saifedean talks about with the fiat standard. You can warp markets and you can make people do stuff that doesn't make any sense just because of governments pushing money in bad directions. So if they want to start paying miners to censor transactions and incentivizing them that way, then the game theory doesn't work the same way as, the white paper doesn't talk about that kind of distortion of market incentives. It just says miners are going to get paid to include transactions. If they don't include transactions, they lose money to other miners that do. That doesn't have a subsection saying, but what if the government is giving them $200,000 every day, to mine compliant blocks? That we don't talk about that. And we hope it doesn't happen. And if it does, that's going to be a pretty interesting scenario. So yeah, that's my take roughly.
So, funny comment in the chat. Someone said Roger Ver is still waiting for Tone's Bitcoin transaction. Well, that was the opposite effect, right? I just sent a 1 Satoshi, like $2, to prove a point, and a miner, slush pool, not even a miner, a mining pool, processed that transaction just for the hell of it. And Roger lost his shit on that, because again, game theory, right? Miners can choose which transactions they're gonna process. And if you have a transaction that most miners don't like, you can just do a replace by fee, thanks to Peter Todd, and that transaction will eventually get processed. But here's something you guys have not mentioned. Oh, my camera all of a sudden decided to.
That was good timing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Focus in. So Bitcoin second layer solutions are really starting to evolve nicely. Lightning and Liquid. And no one talks about Liquid. So everything we just discussed had to do with an on-chain, not compliant Bitcoin transaction. But everyone forgets that the Liquid sidechain is pegged to the price of Bitcoin. Liquid Bitcoin is worth just like Bitcoin. You take on no Bitcoin, no volatility versus a shitcoin. And all transactions inside the Liquid sidechain are confidential transactions. They're basically anonymous. So if your transaction may not, go into the on-chain, you can convert your Bitcoin into Liquid Bitcoin. You can do your transaction there. And no one like acknowledges this. And how are you going to stop the liquid sidechain?
Well, it's quite centralized. It's not difficult to shut down liquid. But over what? What would be your justification? Because as you just
Exactly.
yeah, of course. I mean, liquid is not really talked about or used much, and I think that really speaks to how accurate we are when we say that the whole shitcoin space is hype about nothing, because liquid invalidates every use case. It does everything all the shitcoins do. You can do NFTs on liquid if you want. The fact that no one does speaks to the fact that this is all hype and nonsense. It's if you take all the hype out of the shitcoin space and do it, you know, without the hype and marketing, you get liquid. No one really uses it. That's it.
And that just proves that you don't need any of this shitcoin stuff, because you can do it on liquid. You don't take on any shitcoin volatility, and liquid does everything Ethereum can do. Is just a little more complicated, but eventually it'll be easier. It'll do everything Ethereum can do. Plus, it can make your Bitcoin transactions as good as Monero's transactions for privacy.
All right, guys, I think I should get going, but it was good seeing you guys. And I will see you at I guess all of you are being at BitBlock Boom, or is that
I don't think Joe's gonna make it.
No, but it was good to see you, Jimmy.
I don't think Mechanic's gonna make it. He needs a lot of papers to get out of that prison they call Canada.
Dude, I'm leaving for Austin in a couple of days. I'm bringing the family.
Okay.
I'll be playing chess too, Jimmy. So
Okay.
I was
Yeah,
lining.
There you go, Mal. You got one more chess player.
All right,
Mechanic's
cool.
good too.
Yeah, I
He
already
is good. He is good. All right. Well, talk to you guys
Later, Jimmy.
Later, Jimmy. Thanks for joining.
Okay, I saw
Yeah.
a question in the chat, so let me ask it.
Go for it, Mel.
Now that the expectation is that the Fed won't pivot in 2022, what do you all think?
bad
I
time.
try not to think about the Fed too much.
I think you can hear Tone. I think me and
No,
Tone
they can
might
hear
have-
me. I'm wearing the microphone on my shirt.
You want to keep going, Tone?
No, go ahead.
To be honest,
my fire almost went out here.
I'm kind
I
of
gotta deal with this.
this is kind of like a macroeconomic picture, and I think it's kind of simple. The narrative definitely can affect things, but I feel like just the market is going to affect things just as well. I don't think the interest rates are really going to drive consumers into anything crazy. So like COVID drove people into toilet paper. Like what are people doing paying attention to the Federal fucking Reserve? They're going to pretend that they know a damn thing, and they're going to start investing in all these other things, cryptocurrencies and gold or what have you. Now I really think it's a nothing burger. I think it's a something burger to people like us that like paying attention to this stuff. But at the end of the day, the question is going to be, how does this have an impact on the market as a trader? That's my question, right? And I think I just don't see a scenario here where it deviates from traditional just market behavior.
Fair. Who's next?
I don't have a comment on that and stuff. I don't know.
Hey,
Follow
Quick thing, Crypto Commons sent that super chat. I see you are in Indonesia. If you feel like sticking around in Indonesia for 2 months, the financial summit will be in Bali. I'm assuming you're in Bali. I don't really see anywhere else you'd want to spend time in Indonesia for 2 months. But definitely try to stick around Bali for 2 months and join us at the financial summit. Wait, who else joined? Oh, Motorist. Hey, Motorist, are you coming to BitBlock Boom?
Unfortunately not. By the way, how's my audio? I might turn off my AC if you guys can hear.
Your audio is a little crazy, but it has nothing to do with your AC.
It's just echoey.
Okay, is this better?
It's a little bit better, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
better.
Well, thanks for inviting me on. I saw that you were having the barbecue at your little hideout in the woods, and I thought about coming, but I didn't want to drive the 6 hours to come down. But
Damn,
thanks.
your mustache is spot on, but what happened? There's no more barbers in New Hampshire? What the hell's going on over there?
No, in fact, during the
bought some crystals
lockdowns,
and became a witch.
people from Massachusetts were coming up to New Hampshire to get their haircuts because the barbers were only shut down for like a week or so here, but they were shut down for much longer in Massachusetts. So no, there are barbers here. But
you look like you've been smoking a lot of weed and driving like a Volkswagen bus.
so thanks for having me on, Tone. I have a question for you, and maybe anybody else can chime in. It is related to mining. I don't know, Bernoulli may or may not have an opinion on this as well, but it's not related to the technical aspects of mining, because I know that whatever the U.S. government does about mining, it's going to be just fine. It's not going to affect Bitcoin in any way, despite what Mechanic was just saying. They'll find a way. The water finds a way to flow. The question I have is that recently, I think yesterday or the day before, U.S. Congress sent a letter to 4 of the biggest publicly traded miners in the U.S. One of them was Marathon, one of them was Riot, and I don't remember what the other 2 were off the top of my head. I could look it up.
Bitfarms?
I don't know if Bitfarms was one of them, but it was 4
Look it up.
companies.
I'm curious if Bitfarms is one of them.
Okay, I'll look up the 4 companies officially. My question is, has this affected their stock price in any way in the last couple of days? Has this information affected them? But I'll take a look. I'll try to get all 4 of the companies for you in a bit.
Let's go find out. I just did screen share. Marathon. Well, Marathon's down, but the price of Bitcoin's down. I'm pretty bullish on Bitcoin miners right now. It's not a secret. My favorite company is Bitfarms.
Tone, you said it was surprising that miners were so cheap right now. I'm wondering why that's surprising to you, because no one's going to spend 16 grand on an S19 when you can buy almost an entire Bitcoin with that. And an S19 is unlikely to ever mine an entire Bitcoin in its life.
So,
in fact, an S19 will probably mine you, if you're lucky, half a Bitcoin. And then you've got to pay for all the electricity at the same time, right?
I think my cigar is done.
Yeah.
I just put it on the roster.
Yeah, a single, running single miners might be a fun hobby, but I definitely agree. And if you're a large miner, you get really extremely significant discounts in bulk.
Oh yeah.
So
can you get me one?
Whoa,
I
look at
can't even
Bitfarms.
get one for myself. But the company gets them in mass.
Man, an S19. To be honest, I did well. I bought an S19. Not the I bought one with compass as well, which is, I can't believe I did that. It was the stupidest thing I've ever done. I can't believe I did that. It's floating down a river in Kazakhstan somewhere, as far as I can tell now.
Hey, I'm gonna be in Kazakhstan in October. Let me know
Great.
which river to look at.
It's not exactly a small country, but maybe you can find my miner somewhere. I've been there before. I was in Almaty, and it was crazy.
Really? I'm going to Almaty.
It's cool. Like, just there's a bunch of mountains, and on the other side of those mountains, there's China, and it's pretty anarchic, man. The highway away from the airport is like, the central division, then tarmac, then half tarmac, half soil, and then just trees. And there's as many lanes as you want to really brave it. Like, people will stick to the center if they're not that brave, and then the other people on the overtaking lanes are all swerving around trees. I thought that was pretty fun. They might have.
I got the 4 companies if you need it.
Yeah, name them.
It's Core Scientific, Riot
They're
Blockchain.
huge. The Core Scientific's huge.
Yeah, Riot Blockchain, Marathon Digital, and Stronghold Digital. Those are the 4 companies. So Bitfarms is not one of them.
Good. Because I like.
They're not an American company, I don't believe.
They're not a Canadian.
Yeah, so the U.S. Congress wouldn't be sending them a letter to appear before Congress. I think it has to do with e-waste, which is kind of a silly thing to question them on, because Bitcoin miners are really efficient at recycling their hardware. So if it's not really an e-waste issue as far as I'm concerned, but supposedly that's what they want to talk to them about.
Wow.
So the reason why I'm so... Go ahead.
If you want to talk about the one thing that's actually really alarming about waste is the packaging that ASICs come in. When we've had to deal with literally tens of thousands of pounds of styrofoam. And you can imagine how large that actually is physically. I mean, we're talking about houses and houses worth of piles of styrofoam from the boxes. And we've been looking at really good ways to recycle that and compress it. There are cool machines that compress it down with heat, and you can actually sell it back and recycle it that way. But that's a nightmare. The actual electronics themselves, that seems like an absurd thing to be concerned about.
Yeah, I
Right, so-
downloaded the letter, but I haven't actually read it yet. So I downloaded the actual letter they sent. But
Well, now I got like an inferno going over there in the corner. So now that was a little too much fire.
I have a good mining thing going in Canada, to be honest. In BC, the energy is so cheap that I can compete and mine reasonably. Even at the current price, I'm nowhere near. I get way more sats than it costs me in electricity. You know, from the money I spend on electricity, I get more money worth of Bitcoin than I would if I just spent the money directly on buying sats. So I'm pretty happy. And this is, thankfully, Brains OS came out for the S19Js. So at least for the control board I have. So that means I can mine way more efficiently. You use like 25% less power for the same hash rate or something like that. And S19s are horrendously inefficient the minute the temperature starts to rise. Like an S9 runs like it ticks over beautifully at like 85 degrees C. That's almost shutdown temperature for an S19. An S19 will shut itself down at 91. So an S19 has to run in the 50s for ideal, 60s for, losing a bit of efficiency. You're using like 10% more electricity than you should. 70s is too hot, and 80s you're going to shut down soon. So in this incredibly hot part of the year, I'm still having a great time mining. I can't wait for winter now that I've got Brains OS. I'm going to be able to clock this thing to like 130 terahash, and it will be running. I've got it immersed, obviously. It's a lot of fun. This is the main thing about it. Like, I got into this with a friend mining, and the whole time I was like, we are not going to make money doing this. If we do, it will be a bonus, but we do this for fun. And it has been a lot of fun. But it turns out it's actually been profitable as well. And then unfortunately I have to factor in my compass mistake with that. And now the whole thing becomes collectively.
Yeah. So the reason why I was kind of high on Bitcoin miners is, while Bitcoin dropped 60% from its all-time high, Bitfarms dropped 90% from its all-time high. The price of Bitfarms came down to $1. Bitfarms used to be 22 cents back in the crash after 2020. Now, I know that Bitfarms' break even on mining a Bitcoin is probably around 5,000 or 6,000. And Bitcoin is still over 20,000. So they're grossly profitable. And the stock fell 90%. Why would I not be bullish on the stock?
Yeah, I agree. And it's, if you look at they go up like shitcoins. Like I think Riot went up, I think at the, like that COVID bottom, 4,000 area, I think they were at like 42 cents and they went up to like $72 when Bitcoin hit 64K.
That's pretty sick.
All right, we are drinking extra añejo tequila, as we usually do. Still going to be smoking for a few more hours. Real quick, we should probably cover the price of Bitcoin a little bit. Let's go take a look. Joe Saz is here. I'm gonna glance at this. We are gonna cut the stream by 3 p.m. and then I'm gonna throw like a ribeye on the grill so we can eat. I know Joe has MMA to watch tonight.
Yeah, UFC. Gonna be
UFC.
sick. Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman. I'm actually pretty excited about that.
More of a boxing fan myself, but I have fought some MMA with Joe.
Yeah, you got me sitting up now that you're talking MMA.
So, look, this big drop scared me. I don't like this weekly close below the 200-week moving average. This opens up some world of hurt, especially with the stupidity that Ethereum is about to do. I'm just going to go through my charts real quick. I am going to plug the Financial Summit. Joe was just there. Joe was in DR. Had a lot of fun, didn't you?
Yeah, so if you want my quick comment there, this is now the second Financial Summit I've attended. It was very, very similar to the first in the sense that, you're meeting people that you're going to call friends for the rest of your life. Very, very good crew. yeah, I think the event's fantastic. Great place, great people. I mean, what else can you ask for?
There he is.
Good education.
All right, check that out. Follow us. Daily chart. The daily chart looks very, very ugly to me. I don't need to go into detail. Where is trader? This is Joe's domain. I'm gonna give the mouse to Joe. You guys will hear me tomorrow or Monday talk about the price of Bitcoin with my charts. Let's give Joe a shot here. Do his thing.
All right, let's have some fun.
I should be listening, but I got a couple of things I gotta take care of because I'm also the chef. And I let Joe do his thing. You are on screen share. Is he on screen share? Yeah, you're on screen share. Boom.
So
Go for it, Joe.
right now we're looking at SAS Danger, and I'm pulling this out because well, hello everyone. Great to have you all. Great to see you all. Great to be back, and always thank you for the support. Saw you up there, Evo, and yeah, I was.
Shout out to Jay.
And Jay, great to see you too, my friend.
Thanks for
coming
coming.
to
Financial Summit.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was great to see you, Jay, in person after all these years, and a ton of you out there. Anyways, all right. So, yeah, we were getting some good signals leading into this. The trades have been pretty solid. With danger, and the market's been consolidating in a tight range. So let's look at the order book right here, and let's do something like this. I mean, I prefer. I prefer my book not side by side, but okay. So let's see here. All right, we're looking at something pretty small here. There we go. All right, $100 aggregations. The book is pretty robust on both sides, right? So that makes me more likely to use this makes me more likely to use a more dangerous signal because we're probably going to get, we need more sensitivity. Thank you, Matthew. And so, yeah, with that sensitivity here, we're pretty much locked in a top, and then that led to the crash. And then, you had some good long opportunities, obviously a bit of some exaggeration here, a little bit of wild behavior. Gonna go to 1 minute, where I belong. And yeah, you can see there's been a ton of great trades. I mean, I've been trading like nonstop for the past 2 days. There's just so many trades, and I mean, we're talking RSI based trades, we're talking RSI based trades, we're talking signal based trades, stagger in, stagger out. So yeah, there's a combination of things that I trade with that I call frag trading, and combine that with base lev trading, which I'll have to explain at another point in time. And so yeah, this was a good example right here where we also had a dual band confluence. Spot markets were bearish in the book, dominant, and perpetual markets were bearish as well. So that dual band confluence was a very strong indication that we were due for a test, of something lower. I was hoping it would be above 17K, and I do think we still have some ground to hold up here. So I'm going to pull up SAS 3 now, and let's see here. Oops, let me pull it up over here. SAS 3 is a little more safe, let's say, and at a time like this, safe doesn't hurt anyone, including myself. And this is what I was using a bit to trade yesterday as well, to confirm my positions. So yeah, basically, I'm looking at the market with this as a, not quite a convincing bottom here. It's very not convincing, but it is temporarily. I don't want to check below 20K. I mean, I think that's a little too dangerous for us to have, considered this a bounce, and then to resume normal market operations, which in this case, I still am under the belief that we're in a bear market. So, we have very weak and weakening buy signals, and now we're at the point where sellers have chased the book, right? There's a lot of liquidity leading the front end of the book on the sell side. Could be dynamic, of course, but it's just the fact that we have book chasers now into an area of support. That's what scares me. That always tells me that bears are in control. So that's pretty much how I see the market right now. I want to see, another signal before I take another long, or I want to see something flip long, like MSR. Yeah, I don't think we're at the bottom, but I do still think that, something like 28K should be on the table, So, yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm still thinking, all right, you know, we have a push down here. We're still fighting. Perpetual markets are fighting, you know, ever so slightly to break even and to be neutral. Let's say 1-to-1, buys to sell, bids to asks, and then we have spot markets slightly ahead. And it looks like the 1 to 10% distance is strongest. So that's a good support, you know. And every time we push down, let's take a look. We went a little bit higher. Went a little bit higher up here on a 1 to 2.5, which is your strongest line of defense. So yeah, this really needs to pick back up in order for me to see a strong bottom. Then both of these need to be grinding up toward the top of this line, and that'll be good news for me. So let me get out of here, and happy to answer any questions. Feel free to throw any at me. I hope I didn't take up everyone's conversation here. I'm sure, you know, if anyone has any questions for Newly or Mel or anyone. Yeah, I hope that's a pretty quick summary there for you. I mean,
Yeah, so there's no, are you on the 1 month or 1 minute?
1 minute. Yeah.
So there's no signals on the 1 minute, huh?
Yeah, right now. I mean, we had signals leading us down. Crazy enough, gold mine signals, of course.
Like 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Above 15 minutes.
I'm just a simple
We
man.
got some buy indications.
Yeah. I mean, it's buy indications that are fading, which is what sketches me out. The book is now very robust, you know, near symmetrical, let's say, in this case. And that's what makes this a channel, and that's what makes me scared that, you know, look, now we have to recover to get back to, you know, 22.5. That's, you know, 2,400 Bitcoin right now. You know, we need a market on multiple exchanges to clear this times, let's say 7, you know, on Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, Binance, etc., right? Bitstamp. So I think there's a lot of money to push the price up. Like right now, we're in a fair fight. I really don't like fair fights. The signals are gone, and you know, in this case, in a fair fight, I'm in a no trade position. I will take a long if I get it, and probably down here, maybe a little bit lower. It's closer to 20K. And I just want to look at again at specifically what 20K looks like. 20K bid side is stacked with 497 Bitcoin flat, 21,100 with 425 pack. We might have something. 425 just pulled, so we have about 20 Bitcoin of dynamic activity in there. You know, maybe he pushed it up to the front end of the book. Who knows? These are $100 aggregations, but yeah, we do have some thick, robust liquidity on the downside. But look at this: we have sellers with the same packets there, 375, 421. I mean, obviously the buy side is a bit more robust, but you know, top end of the book, sellers are chasing. So, I mean, I really don't like to see sellers chasing the book. And I can't really see that and be bullish at the same time. So, yep. Jimmy Song is no longer here. Would love to ask him that question for you.
I'd like to comment on MSR.
Cool. Okay. I'll go Fi saying this is the guy who said don't buy Bitcoin after the COVID crash. Maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. I don't know.
You kind of. There's no way you'd have said that. That was the most no-brainer buy in the world. I sent everything I had on that March. Was it 12th? I sent.
Yeah, March 12th crash.
Yeah, I sent everything I had to an exchange and bought everything and like sold it like 2 weeks later. That was the most no-brainer. I wish I hadn't sold it at all, but it was like, come on, man. Like I wish I had dry powder to buy right now, man. I just don't. Historically, buying now is going to be obviously a great move in a few years. You'll look back and be like, I was holding out for 17K at 21K and now the price is 500K. Like, what the fuck was I doing? Like, if you're not a trader, that's got to be the advice.
No, you're 100% right. Because Mechanic, you're even pointing out something really important. Traders have this curse, right? Like, where we try to be right on so many time frames, right? And we like trade and we trade and we trade. And, you know, I end up finding that I might miss 20% of a move and I might close my position and the move goes up 20% higher or whatever, right? So it's like I kind of did make a distinction between investing and trading. And I almost feel like a lot of the time for most people, investing is the safer, the clear and obvious path forward. You know, invest 4 years, put your money into a basket where you're not going to touch that for 4 years or whatever, like you were saying, right? That to me is very sound advice, you know, very sound long-term advice.
You know, one thing I wanted to make, this is not related to what we've been discussing for a while, but Jimmy was giving us a synopsis of the whole Ethereum debacle. And One thing that I'm enjoying about it is like this analogy I can't get out of my head, which is supposing you have like a shitty restaurant and it serves unhealthy food, but it's the only one in town, and people suddenly become health conscious and they decide we need to make this healthier, and so the restaurant has to improve what it does to cook. It starts, actually cooking with healthier ingredients. That could happen, right? But imagine a scenario where there's two restaurants and one of them is for health nuts. It's always been healthy in the first place. It cooks healthy food. And there's another crappy restaurant that doesn't. Then it doesn't work, right? Supposing health consciousness comes in, everyone just goes to the other restaurant. They don't sit with the unhealthy, crappy restaurant and insist that it gets better. They just go to the one that's good, this is what I'm talking about with Ethereum and Bitcoin when it comes to decentralization. Like the idea of having a UASF movement or any of that kind of stuff, any respect for decentralization or censorship resistance or any of this stuff in Ethereum, why the hell would you fight in the Ethereum world when you've got the Bitcoin world right there, and that's where all the energy for that is. UASF's, it's complicated, and getting decentralization up there and having it as a priority in a community that abandoned that. I can't think of anything more pointless. I can't think of a more of a non-starter. Like the idea that you would have these Eric Walls and people like that go, we're going to do a UASF. This will bring about decentralization, and we're already decentralized. And I just think it's such a joke of an idea, man. But yeah, and it's not really relevant to anything. But it's just the fact that you have this ecosystem where something was deprioritized to the point where it became just not a part of the culture at all, in juxtaposition for another ecosystem where it was an absolute top level priority. The idea that you could then pivot into something better when there's already this great and established alternative is just such a pipe dream.
Oh, hold on. Unmuted my mic. I see Rodrigo from Liga Crypto in the chat. I just sent you the Zoom link if you want to join us. Another attendee of the Financial Summit. So you are welcome to join us in the chat. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you keep chatting. I gotta chop up a little more wood, and then if we're gonna be grilling steak, so I'm probably gonna get some coals fired up as well. I'm gonna utilize the same grill. And yeah, any questions? Mel,
I'll
Bernoulli?
comment. I want to comment on what Mechanic said, that you're way too fucking smart for me, brother. That was awesome.
Okay, here's a big picture question. Do you
And one
think?
hell of a bassist and drummer.
Do you think? Oh shoot, I lost it.
Piano player.
Oh, for God's sake. Do you think that the stock market will be higher by year end? Higher or lower?
I actually think it'll be higher. I think it'll be higher than right now by year end. I am still somewhat bullish on the stock market, as crazy as the environment is. And after my stream yesterday, where we talked a lot about, so speaking of my stream yesterday, right? So a lot of people thought I was crazy, and I even had to Google it because so many people questioned one of my statements yesterday. So I talked yesterday about, the whole Russia-Ukraine disaster situation. And I talked about how one of the regions that Russia has taken over, this part in red, has a nuclear power plant on it. And there's plenty of reports, so it's not bullshit. I think that's the power plant. It's somewhere here. I'm sitting on an angle, so it's Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. It's like over here somewhere. And the Ukrainians are trying to blow up this power plant, which is still technically on Ukrainian soil. And I said, well, that is ridiculously stupid because the wind patterns in this part of the world blow east to west. So if this power plant is blown up, the nuclear material is not going to blow towards Russia to kill Russians. It's going to blow towards Europe to kill Europeans.
Has there been confirmation that Zelensky's plan is straight up to blow up a nuclear power plant? Or is this?
I'm sure there isn't confirmation. I don't know how you would find it, but I just don't see, from a logical point of view, why would Russians want to blow up a power plant in a region that they now control? It just makes no sense to me.
Why would they blow blow one up for any reason ever, like if it's contentious land, like either of them has the hope of ever occupying it.
I mean, it's an analogy I gave a long time ago. Like basically, if you're in an apartment building, and you have your family there, and some bunch of thugs just broke into your house and like started killing your family, and you're about to die, and you're holding a giant grenade, you're just gonna throw the grenade, right? Because as long as you kill those 3 people, you don't really care if you kill the rest of the building, because you and your family are gonna die anyway. So collateral damage is completely irrelevant. So it's kind of like that mentality. You know what I mean, Joe?
Yeah,
Like,
interestingly enough, yeah, that's a tough one. But
collateral damage becomes irrelevant.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that kind of mentality.
I almost feel like this though too. It's like if I was to say, "Hey, look, I'm gonna nuke my own plant," and all the wind's gonna blow to Europe. I'm basically saying, "Yo, Europe, get your ass on my side, because otherwise, all your people are gonna be, throwing up blood." So I think
Right.
it's actually interesting.
So, and everyone is like, "Oh, what about the Gulf Stream? What about the jet stream?" The Gulf Stream in the United States blows west to east, so all the weather in the United States blows west to east, and people somehow think that translates throughout the entire world. And if you look at and I looked at it yesterday, I'm looking at it again today. In general, that's how the wind blows. So here's the wind. You can see how here's southern Russia, here's Russia that borders Ukraine. You can see how all the wind is blowing west. So if a nuclear power plant is to be go radioactive in Ukraine, none of that is going to Russia. All of that is going west. Sometimes it goes southwest, sometimes it goes northwest, sometimes it goes straight west. But the point is, it's going to go west. It's not going to go east. And on yesterday's stream, people were like completely baffled by this. And I just knew this, I just kind of knew it. But then I had to Google. I didn't want to Google, weather patterns on live air. I mean, God knows I could be searching forever. But I found it real quick, and you can keep an eye on it, and you can see the speed of these wind gusts, and they're all going west.
Is that a hurricane over the UK? Look at that. It's like
No, those are normal wind patterns.
okay, so then like zoom out and look over Russia, and you almost see that same pattern, that same circular pattern.
Yeah.
So if you were going to let some nuclear energy out, you pretty much would be spreading it over yourself.
Well, not really, right? Because like all the wind that borders Russia, Ukraine, it always goes west.
Oh yeah, now it's
So it's not going to get up here. I mean, a little traces of it might, but just look at the wind patterns on the border of Russia, Ukraine. I have to zoom out a little bit. So here's the border, here's Ukraine, here's Moscow. So this border here is Russia, Ukraine. The wind is always going west.
Wow.
So like anything that happens to a nuclear facility on the edge of Russia, near Ukraine, or in Ukraine, it's always going to go west towards Europe, which is why it is totally insane to touch or even fire anything near a nuclear power plant in Ukraine. It is completely nuts. And people are like, "Oh, Ukrainians aren't that crazy to do it." And my answer was, "Oh, hell yeah, they are," from what I've seen so far in the last year.
I don't know, man. I think like everything that comes out of that region is misinformation or bullshit. Like I'm trying to keep get my honest sources and stuff, but I straight up don't think he would do it. He might say he would do it to scare people into going, we better make sure that Ukraine start making some major headway into, formerly Ukrainian territory that's occupied by Russia. We better help, otherwise they're going to go nuts and blow up a nuclear power plant. But do you
So someone in the live chat right there, someone in the live chat, this would be Rodrigo, sent a simulation of what happened if that nuclear power plant is to go boom, where the radiation is going to go. And this makes total sense to me. This is the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, and you can see how that radiation will barely touch Russia. So what are you guys doing?
I don't think they're going to do it. Am I naive?
I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, there's so much, well, I take it with a grain of salt, but like there's definitely armed conflict around this nuclear power plant, and if it blows up, there you go. There's just simulation of where the radiation is going to go. So if you live in any of these countries, you really want to be somewhere else.
Well, I think a lot of it goes back to what you said.
And for those that aren't geographically inclined, this is Belarus right here. That's Estonia. That's Latvia. That's Lithuania. That is still Russia. That's Poland. This right here is Hungary. This right here is Slovakia. That's Czech Republic. That's Romania. That's Moldova. As long as I didn't screw up my geography.
That was badass.
And
That was better than TA of the day. So like naming all these countries.
and that's Czech Republic over there, and then you probably have Austria down there.
Okay, but this goes back to what you were talking about, Tone, with humans not, at least this is the way I interpreted it, that humans cannot handle nuclear. Humans should not be in charge of nuclear things. That would be the only reason why I would say they shouldn't or wouldn't do it, because you don't know what's going to happen. It's too hard to control, and that would be my reasoning for saying they won't do it. I mean, even Putin would have to know that nuclear is not an easy thing to control.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, like everyone says how easy it is and how safe it is, but in a time of war, it's certainly not. All right, let's get back to the trading and Bitcoin talk. I don't know how I got off on this tangent, but just a heads up on that.
Are we going to be higher or lower at the end of the year?
On Bitcoin, I think we'll be higher on both
On the
Bitcoin
markets.
and the stock market.
Across the markets.
Across the markets, yeah. I think bonds are. I think the only sector. I think real estate is going to be flat to maybe down by the end of the year. Real estate is the only one that I'm going to say flat to down. Government bonds are going to be probably down because rates are going to keep going up. But stocks and Bitcoin is going to be higher. That's my view for end of year.
I think Bitcoin's going to be lower, but I agree with just about everything else.
For new,
All right, we'll see. So what's the price right now? 21K? 21.3?
I'm still thinking 11. I'm thinking on a potential death wick below 10. So I'm stacking orders from 8K up to 14.
Wow. Joe's super bearish. Right now we're at 21,000. So I'll make the call. I think we'll be higher at year end.
I agree.
I'm going to be bullish on this.
It doesn't have to be a whole lot higher. 25, 30K. I think we go
Right.
sideways here for.
I mean, I think it'll be higher than that.
okay.
One thing I'm thinking is like to really get all this bear market out the way it can happen in the next 6 to 8 months if we just crash and get it over with. It's like we keep crashing and then we have like wild buyers and then they draw this out. We've been sitting at we bottomed out at 17K. We've been sitting here for a number of weeks, month, whatever. It's like all this drawn out shit in Bitcoin. That's what, like, annoys me about Bitcoin bear markets. The bull markets are the blink of an eye, but then the bear markets are filled with stubborn fucking buyers that refuse to acknowledge the fact that Bitcoin just, popped and it needs to go down. So you have constant upward pressure from dollar cost averaging and all these other systems, right? And then, Bitcoin has these really long drawn out bear markets because you have a very stubborn buying pressure, right? And this isn't a bad thing. I actually think it's fine, but I'm just saying, like, these cycles would probably go a lot faster, and I would be very confident that we could see our bear market low and then recover and be at in even break even or above this by within 6 months. I could see that if we were to just capitulate now, but I don't think the breakdown from 30K to 17, let's say, overall, that wasn't a capitulation. We really just scratched the previous all-time high. That wasn't an 80% correction even. So it was ballpark, but I still want to see the real deal here. This is Bitcoin. We've been through what in since 2017 when I was a full-time trader, bull market, bear market, and then we had the 2019 flash to 14K. Then we had the dump from that down to 75, something like that, 60, 65. Then we had the move back up to 10 something, and then that started the February 12th news of the CME closing the floor, February 2020, leading into the March 12th crash from 10,000 to 75, and then from 75 to 3,800 on March 12th itself. So yeah, I just think that, yeah, like that's a capitulation, right? But the move from 10,000 after, recovery from 10,000 from 14 to 7, and then 50% retrace, and then like some snappy 50% pullback, snap back up real quick because of a crypto capital CEO arrest, Tether exodus, and then you had the whole ensuing destruction afterwards. Yeah, we've survived so much as Bitcoiners. We know that you engage in emotional buying, you end in emotional selling. I still haven't seen the emotional selling. I've seen periods of it and pockets of it that have been controlled, but I haven't seen it let loose. And that to me is a capitulation. And if that can get done sooner, I would love to say that Bitcoin will be above the current price by the end of the year. But I've just been around here for too long to see that Bitcoin will draw this thing out forever. It'll draw it out for as long as it possibly can. And look, this market in particular, we had a full 50% retrace, a new all-time high, and then we had a lower low. And when in Bitcoin's history we had an all-time high, like a 50% retrace, a new all-time high, a 50% retrace, and then a breakdown. You know what I'm saying? Like this market is just really, really acting irrational right now. So I think
in 2013, no, 2013
Sorry,
we
what?
pretty much did that. We hit 266, then we went all the way down to $50, then we went all the way up to $1,100, and then we went all the way back to I think 150 or something.
To be honest, I'm going to give you authority there because that's quite before my time. So if I'm saying first,
He's right.
and I'm not, it's not true, I apologize.
We hit like 160, and then we recovered a little bit. Then that following summer went down to, one mechanic is saying like 150. This is after we had that double bubble back in 2013. But people say that doesn't count because it wasn't a 4-year cycle. It was 2 bubbles.
Let's say it does. Let's say it does. What was the crash from the second all-time high to the low?
I think it was
curious.
It was on Bitstamp. The price was 1160, I think, and on Gox it was 1260 because Gox was out of whack. There was no way to withdraw. And then
that was the all-time high, and then the low.
Yeah, and then we tanked all the way down to 150, I think, and then there was the slaying of Man Bear Whale, which is an epic thing where someone put up a sell wall of 35,000 Bitcoin.
Oh, damn.
And then that was the end, though. That was the end. That was the COVID crash of the previous cycle. It was Man Bear. There was one guy selling 35,000 Bitcoins, and he was a big blocker. And then he made a post on Reddit a few months later saying, "I sold the bottom like an idiot because I listened to Roger Ver." It was kind of cool, the whole thing. But yeah, I don't think it's relevant to your perspective now because it was such a small market back then. We only had one exchange really, and it collapsed. Like everything was just. It was like a tiny little pebble being thrown around. It wasn't a serious player like it is now, right? It wasn't $1 trillion asset yet.
And from that top to the average from that top to that eventual secondary low was about 87% drop.
Yeah, that theory holds true in my eyes.
What do you think happen next year, Joe? Like, because 2019 we had this sort of reverse capitulation where we had a bull market out of nowhere, right? We went all the way up to, and there was a scam that collapsed. And the thing is, during the bull market runs, you have all these scams developing, right? And then when the bubble pops and everything collapses, everyone has to, first off, there's contagion and systemic risk to Bitcoin where it takes that out too. But then you have all the people running away with the money they made, scamming everyone else, and they just want to go back to Bitcoin. So do you think 2023 is a year where something like that happens, like 2019?
Well, I think I really think that this is a market cycle that literally just ends and we start a new one. And 2023, I'm expecting us to clean all this up. We have the market structure of what it looks like to get to 60K, right? We know we can get there. We know we have demand. So it's all we need to do is we've established a number of price discovery zones. 30K was really strong, right? And then 20K, clearly, previous all-time high is clearly strong now. So what does 2023 look like? I just think it's a simple, I keep my focus very macro and simple and market structure and theoretical in that sense, right? And I think that if we can just clean this up, which I think is going to happen inevitably in 6 to 8 months, whether it be Nancy Pelosi causing some sort of insider trading scandal or whatever the external narrative we want to call it, no matter what, I think we're going to end this in 6 to 8 months, whether or not, bulls want to try to prop the market. And then we rebuild a 2023, which is going to look something like a consolidation of let's say $10,000 to $15,000 Bitcoin, and then we start recovering with the knowledge that we can get to 60K. So price discovery is already accepted at this level, but now we have the market structure to back it up and to say 60K is now the price discovery minimum of Bitcoin, not wherever we went parabolic, which is probably more like 10 or 11K. So, I think that resurgence of 2023, like, Bitcoin rebuilding, Michael Saylor getting his followers back, like some people in the world saying, you know what, maybe this Bitcoin is something I should take a look at, with all the crazy things we expect to happen over the next year, right? Like Andreas Antonopoulos said in his old days when he was respectable, people don't complain about money until they realize it isn't working. And we're starting to realize it isn't working. Like over the past 6 months, wood went up, in a year, right? Wood went up, and the cost to buy steak went up. In the East Coast, it's a 50-50. If I'm even going to get a cut that's fresh, I'll buy it to the store. I'll go to the store, buy something that expires in 3 days. I'll open it right now and it's sour. So it's clear that we're definitely in a weird time here. So whatever the case is, whatever the external narrative is going to be, I don't really think about that stuff because, when you start speculating on that world, it goes all over the place. So I just think from a market theory perspective, we crash, we have price discovery established. We have a little bit of, violent behavior on that end, but, price discovery nonetheless. I think that's something we can rebuild off of, get above 20K and we have 30K, get above 30K and we have 60K, pretty much. And once we get above that, then it's laser eyes.
I agree, man. And I do think it's Weimar vibes, right? Which explains that 50% correction, higher high, then all the way down to 20K, right? Like that was crazy, and that's why Tone went bullish when it hit a higher high at 69K, and that wasn't the right move. That's Weimar, right? I'm talking about the price of gold in Weimar Republic. It didn't just go all the way up because of hyperinflation. It went all over the place because of the absolute turbulent conditions. So
yeah, the mining ban in China, and I think the miners liquidating really made that a weird market. It was a weird bull run. I kind of see 64K as more the top, but time-wise, it really should have kind of happened in the middle there where we dipped back to under 30K.
I just want to say it's really good to hear a Joe Saz price rant. It was amazing. I've missed that.
Happy to be back. Thank you, Tone, for having me in. Thank you, everyone.
I see Crypto Comments has joined us. You have your own YouTube channel. It is in Russian. You also are a trader. Oh, is the camera following me now or following Joe? Camera's following Joe.
Yeah,
guys.
thanks for having me on. First time on your channel, actually.
Yeah, it is the first time on my channel. I'm gonna grab the camera towards me.
Here, sit down when you go jump in.
Yeah, I'm gonna chill here. And how you been, Joe?
Very well. I'm on Bali.
This.
Yeah. Chilling on Bali because of this situation that you just show us on map with Ukraine. We don't want to participate in that, so we left in February in Dubai, then went to Bali. And we'll try to participate in your event, Financial Summit. Oops, I don't hear you for some reason.
Was I still muted? Here we go. I said, yeah, no, it'd be awesome to have you in Bali if you're still in Bali.
Yeah, I have some problems with internet here, so some glitches. Yeah, I just listened to you guys and wanted to point out that hash ribbons by signal just flash out. And historically speaking, it was a pretty good signal. I can share screen for a minute.
Sure, let me give you ability to share screen. Yep, Mechanica's naked. Be aware.
Sorry about that, guys. I don't want to disturb my baby, so I couldn't get a shot.
I've explained more than once that this is a Saturday.
So yeah, guys,
It's a relaxing Saturday.
I'm getting roasted in the Bitcoin Core Slack for being shirtless. I'm getting absolutely.
It's relaxed Saturday. It's fine.
Thank you.
Cool. So I think you're familiar with this indicator. It just flashed by, I think today, maybe. It's just flashing and disappearing at some point. But yeah, I think that probably the minor capitulation is over, and maybe we will see another sell-off, as Joe said before, and we'll see another buy signal. But historically speaking, it was pretty good, as we may see from the charts. And not only hash ribbons, but we have several bottom signs here. For example, P-cycle bottom. We know that this is the first time when we see this indicator actually flashed, because it was written by previous times, but P-cycle top flashed almost perfectly at 64K. So P-cycle bottom, plus we have death cross of 20 and 100 moving averages on weekly. Usually we see it near the bottom, as here, or here, or now. I just pointed it out on my Russian channel. So we have 3 signals already with this hash ribbons buy, P-cycle bottom, death cross, and also on market cipher. We have similar structure, as you may see. Wait a minute, like this. We have 3 blue waves on every bear market. So
Yep.
third
Oh,
blue wave.
Joe, that Joe is talking about market cipher.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But this is not actually original market cipher. It's VMC cipher with respect to CryptoFace. But I like this version more because it show divergences and yellow dots. But it's okay. It's almost the same. But we see similar structure. We see 3 waves, and on third wave we see green dots. So like yeah, I see a lot of signs that could be a market bottom, or maybe we're near in. So we may have some liquidity squeeze, like, I don't know, as in Corona dump. But
Let me just ask
anyway,
you, what do you think of a bounce? Do you think this could be a bounce in a lower low, or are you pretty, like, 8 out of 10 certain here that this is like that 17K was it like it, like, are you pretty certain there? I'm just curious, just for a second opinion.
I give the high probability that this is bottom, or we are near bottom. So we can see like false breakout maybe, and then return back at some point. So that's how I see the markets now. And also all the geopolitical and financial environment, like all this inflation, hyperinflation, I think it's good for Bitcoin, neither than bad, but not for shitcoins. Only for Bitcoin, and maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 picks maybe we'll see in the future. But shitcoin hype, I think, yeah, I think we'll see maybe and some kind of alt season soon, but it won't be sustainable long term. Yeah, I think we should make more Bitcoin on this rally, rather than Ether or some shit. Yeah, so that's my 2 Satoshi on that.
2 sets.
Yeah. All right, gotcha.
Joe,
By the way.
I see it as a I would call it like a primary bottom, but that doesn't mean that we don't get a shakeout or a secondary bottom that couldn't wick lower.
I totally agree. I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, look, if I was the 1 year ago Joe that said we were gonna be in a bear market at 60K or whatever, and 14K was my call, if you'll remember. I don't know if you guys remember this shit, but I said 14K, right? And I'm gonna just be transparent here and say, look, if you're a technical analyst and you called the top at 65K and you call 14K and we hit 17 and you're 3 G's off, that's damn near a home run. You're still running all bases. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a damn good call, even though I'm not down to the dollar. So I do think that it is a good low for sure. I mean, it's in spitting distance of what I thought the bottom would be. So what you both said was a false breakout in your case, Crypto Commons, and in your case, for nearly a death wick. That's really what I agree with, is that I think it's going to be some, like, even though I kind of was saying I don't really think much about these external narratives because, you know, I can't, it's more because I can't pick which one is going to be the doomsday. You get what I'm saying? But I do think there is a doomsday, and it's probably going to be created by some sort of narrative outside of the markets or, you know, tied to them, but, you know, most likely some sort of Nancy Pelosi shit or whatever we want to call it, right? She's just kind of the hot target right now. And then, you know, we might get that random just capitulation. And again, it's irrational. You know, I'm not talking about rational market behavior, and almost never am I when I'm talking Bitcoin, you know.
Yeah, I've got kind of a cool chart I can show you, Joe, if you're interested.
Yeah, go for it. We are going to be wrapping this up in probably 20 minutes. So we got 20 minutes to go. Then I'm going to fire up some coals. I got to grill a ribeye. I'll show it to you guys before we head off. Also going to grill some shrimp. We're going to have a good barbecue in a bit.
Monthly RSI is the lowest ever. Hey, I hope I win, bro. I remember you. Good to see you again. Interesting. Lowest monthly RSI.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about Embly. Or we got to take 5 minutes to talk about Embly.
Yeah. Bernoulli, what do we got, buddy?
So this is some interesting code I wrote up. It's actually just golden ratio multiples of the 45-week simple moving average. I showed this on here once before. Joe, I don't think you've seen it before, and it's
no, I'm just unmute.
It's interesting just because you get this pattern of each top is a lower band, you know, or red, orange, yellow, green. I would expect the next one to top out on the blue curve. But what I found more interesting, which I was not expecting, is that this white band really creates a fantastic bottom indication. And you know, I like the week that we're in right now, I see as fairly similar to the week of like January 7th, 2019. You know, and it could play out like we saw here in 2019. But, you know, it could also easily play out a lot like we saw back here. And why don't we much lower wick.
There's a couple questions I have, and they're just, if you wouldn't mind just looking at the wicks that go below the white line, but just look at the percentage distance below, you know. I'm just curious, like, you know, they're just small wicks, but that could be 10% or 20%. And I'm just, because again, that would really clean up the theory that, yeah, you know, this is a great looking bottom for now, you know, and a wild move down is more likely an anomaly type thing where you're just going to get the shakeout, a wild washout, whatever. And then, you know, it's the sell your socks, buy Bitcoin, you know, sell your computer, stop trading, sell your shit.
Yep. And, you know, here way back in 2011, which is far less relevant, but, you know, we got almost 22% below the white curve. In 2015, we got about 20.5%. And we didn't really get any significant drawdown below the white curve in 2018 or in 2020.
Yeah. What about the most recent wick, 24?
No, we got 12% below that curve.
12%. All right. So it's getting smaller, but like, you know, that's a good sign of a robust market and maturing market. In my, I like just throwing some, you know, my thoughts in the air out there. I'm still curious, you know, I like the idea. Obviously we all know I love Bitcoin, so I don't want to be you know, the freaking grim reaper of Bitcoin here in price action, but yeah, I like this chart. I think it's good, but that little swing down and maybe a wick, you know, could be all it takes for me to be happy, and then, you know, things just flip around.
Definitely. And the thing that I always expect is for Bitcoin to do what everyone doesn't expect. I always expect to be caught off guard without knowing what that'll be.
Right, yeah. 3 times a year, Bitcoin's going to liquidate you, even though you're right. It's like you could be 1x right 100%, and it's going to liquidate you 3 times a year.
I feel like the craziest thing that could happen right now is for the bottom to be in and we continue to range and go slightly higher.
Okay. Milk. All right. My one comment on that would be, what is the most important psychological signature that I would be looking for in that situation?
Everyone thinks we're dropping to nothing.
Yep. Denial. Denial is the final phase after the euphoria of a market cycle. So denial and then continuation. So ideally we break that CME gap in 24K and start cleaning up some of the stuff to the upside and leave a lot of these things in the dust. But yeah, there's a couple CME gaps like 30,000s. Denial is very important, and I'm not seeing denial. I'm seeing hesitation right now. I'm seeing fear. That's very different.
People sitting on the sidelines with cash, and I think people are going to get left behind. On MSR, on the 4-hour, I've gotten 2 decent signals. The last one was at like 17.3 on spot, and then just got one right around 21. So that would be that would be unexpected.
I love MSR. I trade it on the 1 minute personally. I use MSR as a trader on the 1 minute. I trade on the 1 minute with my signals or less, 5 second. You guys know my signals they're not about time. They're about a condition being met and yes or no, not about when is, you know what I mean? When will it happen or whatever. So between those two things, I'm finding a lot of nice confluence in the markets. And, I really like the 4-hour in that case too, even though you got to let it go sideways for a little bit because that's what the market's been doing, so let's see. I'm cautiously optimistic though. I still think that 28K is on the table. I really think that it makes all the sense in the world for Bitcoin to have some relief somewhere. We can't just be like, devastated the entire time until we bottom out or whatever, but I guess that is also a phase before a capitulation, the same way that we capitulated from 6K down to 3.
If we get up and over like 23.7, then I think that situation is very possible.
I mean, even locally, if you look at it daily, there's some form of a descending triangle you can draw, and we're basically grinding along the bottom of it. So I don't like that, in its core, but I do think that, yeah, we should have that pop. Bitcoin did have a crash of 17K. And if you want to call, 24K high a correction, you're not in Bitcoin. Go back to Boeing and trading Amazon and shit. You know what I mean? That's not a Bitcoin correction. That's a little Bitcoin, pat on the, back. You know what I'm saying? It's okay, guys.
Even if I'm looking at MSR on the 144, which I like a lot, I think the worst we could possibly do is 18. I mean, that's what I see right this minute. 18. And I've got a reserve price right there just in case.
Mm-hmm. Good.
You know what I think is really nice about this is we have opportunities to pick up spot pretty continuously here as we mine
this is
fiat.
The most important opportunity. Dude, everyone wants to get caught up on losing money or whatever, but yeah, that's if you're an emotional buyer and you bought at 60 50K because your cousin that you've been ignoring for 5 years and you should have bought Bitcoin at $1,000 or whatever, and now you finally decide to buy at 50K. Yeah, that's the dumb buyer that is becoming a prospective seller in the not too distant future, right? The second they get put on fire, they're not going to be a diamond hand hodler, So, that's what the capitulators. Those are the capitulators. The dumbest sellers, effectively, and those are the dumbest buyers, right? So, let's see.
To be clear, I'm really not a trader. I'm seriously just interested in getting the very, very best spot price that I can to maximize my, holdings. And so that's why I watch this, and that's why I want to get the most for my crappy fiat.
If you want to talk some trading wisdom, I will agree that I fight every day for percentages, and maybe they're good, maybe they're bad, maybe I lose some, maybe I lose a lot on the 7th day of the week. I can lose 6 days worth of work. Trading is fucking hell. You got to have so many plans. Even worse, you got to have plans to fail, which are worse than plans in general, right? You need to be, such a thinker, and I think it's best to do what you're doing, which is hey, I'm an analyst, but I'm looking for dry powder buys. I'm not trying to catch every bottom of every wick and snipe every top. If you were asking me 2 years ago, yeah, I would be addicted to that. Right now, it's I'm looking at the big picture and haven't been in the space for quite some time. It's like the best decisions were the longest term decisions. Clearly, you can be the greatest trader and make a ton of Bitcoin, but you know, when I was getting greedy, when I was making 0.1 Bitcoin at, you know, per trade, let's say, or a Bitcoin at $7,000 and being like, shit, this isn't even enough to buy freaking new brakes on my car. Now it's enough to buy, you know, new tires, brakes, engine, you know what I mean? It's like, holy cow. So it's like, you need to, when you're trading Bitcoin, it's really important money management, because, you know, one day that Bitcoin will be worth $1 million, and that 0.1 that you managed to earn is going to be, you know, a life's wealth for maybe generational, who knows?
One thing I've learned from you, one thing I've learned from Tone, trading is not easy. And you know, when you first hear that, you think, oh yeah, right, but I can do it. Okay. Most people cannot. So I thought the smartest thing I could do was learn how to look at the charts and learn the asset, understand how it, you know, how far it can drop. I knew it could drop 80, 85%. So I decided to finally be ready for that if it happened. So it's that kind of thing is what I think is going to help you stack more down the line, unless you really can trade, which is, that's a difficult thing to really do. So
yeah,
there are other things you can do.
It takes a lot of time and attention.
I'm going to drop off. Nice to talk to you all, and I'll see you soon.
Yo, it's great to see you again, man. Been a while, but great to see you again.
It's been exactly a year. What's it called? Bitcoin Standard Conference was a year ago. That was a lot, man.
Oh yeah, that was a great time, man. I miss you. Good to see you again.
Yeah, see you. Speak to you soon, guys.
Take care.
It easy.
Have a good one.
So I guess you know, I'm gonna let Tone. He's inside. I know he wants to wrap this up soon, so I'm just gonna kind of be here to help mediate too.
Sure. There's something. It's a shame Mechanic just dropped off, because I was gonna shill something. So I reached out to every single one of you that's on this stream personally, including Mechanic, except for Crypto Commons. I haven't reached out to him because, hey, how you doing, Crypto Commons? I don't think we know each other quite yet. But I reached out to each of you individually to join my NFL Survivor pool for Sats, and you guys all said no. Now I got 30 people who have already joined, and I got another half a dozen or so who have verbally committed to joining. So I'm setting up this NFL Survivor pool. But every one of you guys on the stream here with me, except for Crypto Commons, because I haven't really talked to him yet, has said no. So anyway, anybody, any one of you guys on the stream here, or anybody that's listening, if you do want to join the NFL Survivor pool, it's super fun. It's nothing like fantasy football. You don't have to be an NFL nerd to play. You don't have to know about NFL to play, regardless of what Mechanic just told me. He said he doesn't know anything about NFL. You don't have to know anything about NFL to play. It's actually just super fun. So if you are interested, tag me on my pinned tweet, or reply to my pinned tweet on Twitter, and I'll get you in the pool. Like I said, we got 30 so far. Another half a dozen or so are joining. I'm trying to get to 50 people. So if anyone's interested, reach out to me. Another thing I wanted to shill is I'm going to be in LA in a couple of weeks, and I am selling my Harley, or I'm planning to, at least, if I can get a good deal on it. So if anyone is going to be in the LA area in the next couple of weeks, and you're looking to buy a Harley, this is the same Harley that I took from Maine all the way down to Florida, all the way to California, and all the way into Mexico. So if anybody is looking to buy that famous motorcycle that I took cross country, hit me up somehow, find me somehow. I guess you can reply to me on Twitter or something and get my attention. So let me know if anybody is interested.
Thank you. So
Hey Joe, let's talk to Emily for a minute.
oh yeah, we'll wrap this up.
Before we turn off.
Here, Tone, wave at the camera, and then I'll center on you. I'll stand up.
No. Well, you could like. Oh, is it following you?
No, I don't know, but earlier, whenever I did a hand gesture, it would follow me. Yo, why won't it work now? Come on, like the tech guys. The second that it.
Now it's following. No, it's not. Okay. Then I'll show you guys where else we're about to start drilling. You fired up another cigar.
Yeah.
My dad wanted to try it. I'll.
Well, no, there's a Connecticut in there, nice and easy.
Okay, no. I think I'm
saved
good
you
for
a
now. Maybe a little bit
For
later.
you to- yeah.
All right, Emily.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey guys, if you are interested in Emily, you can find the link through my page. You can go over to tonevays.com. That's my calendar. You'll see that I will be in BitBlock Boom in less than a week. But if you go to affiliate, you will see Embly right there. Click on Embly, click on the disclaimer, and it'll take you to overall. You can choose Embly Europe or Embly USA, which should launch in a couple of months.
No. That's launching. Beta is launching next week.
Next week, even better.
Yeah.
So that's Embly USA for you US people out there. So tell us a little bit about Embly since you're right here with me.
Yeah. So in case you don't know, I'm CEO of Embly USA and partner with Alexander Baishkov, other CEO. And so currently Embly is servicing 25 countries in the European Union. So any of you guys in, Euro can sign up, go to embly.com, get your card 2 to 4 business days and, some KYC, and you'll be able to swipe your card pretty much anywhere in the world. So and you also have contactless payments. That the Euro service is working perfect. It's great. And USA is launching here in like I said, next week. It's going to be a beta launch, and we're probably going to do a friends and family launch first, and then the second launch is going to continue to be beta since it's only going to have virtual cards, and then the plastic and metal cards will come about 2 months from now. So that's probably why Tone was thinking 2 months. But once the plastic and metal cards are available and the fulfillment's all ready, so 2 months or so, that's when I'm planning to do the full launch, so that people that want to buy their metal cards get your metal card. If you want your get what you're going to get your free plastic card if you were on the wait list and so forth. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting time. USA is going to be a great product. We're going to have a $90,000 monthly spend limit. So any of you dudes out there, any of you ladies out there that ball it super hard mining or trading or whatever can send those Coinbase sats directly to your cash if you need to. I don't know, but just saying, you'll have your services here in the US very soon, and then onward to global expansion further.
Sure.
Hey, Joe, I already signed up to be on the Embly list. So do I have to do anything extra, or because I signed up already, I'm already on the list?
You don't have to do anything extra. Pretty much you just join the list and then we're good to go. We've recorded all that information, so we'll be able to say, yeah, this person's eligible for a free card, and we're we won't be able to run anything free after launch. So, we might be able to run promotions for like $1 for the card or something like that. But yeah, everyone that got in before the thing went live is going to be able to get the free card. And then, yeah, I like to say whether you're a diamond hand hodler or whatever, having an Embly card in your wallet, if you have a hot wallet and you have corn on there, one day you're going to intend to spend it. That's the reason why you have your hot wallet. So it's like your Embly card. If you're stuck at the grocery store, or you're stuck in another country, you're stuck wherever and you can't pay, your Embly card's going to save you. So I think it's a great service. I think it's going to be great to launch out here, and of course, service as much of the world as possible. And you have the unique benefit of having someone like your grandmother swiping an Embly card and not even knowing that she's using Bitcoin. So to me, this is very much a bridge technology to get people familiar with the fact that I'm still using the traditional financial system, but it's powered by the neo financial architecture, right? So my grandma can basically be spending Bitcoin at Costco without even realizing it if I send Bitcoin to her Embly card. So this is, in my eyes, a very, very important bridge technology. And again, we're growing, we're expanding fast. But ideally, more countries do what El Salvador did and just cut straight to the point, make Bitcoin legal. But yeah, until then, Embly will be there for you.
Hey Joe, does Embly care at all? Do they do any filtering or of where transactions come from? Because I know I've spoken to people that have had issues with that with other services and getting warnings about using like mixed coins and things, for example.
No, that's one thing. Like, let's just say I'm just I don't do extra credit. I do what's required of me, and the laws say X, I do what the laws say. There's a lot of gray area that I use to my advantage, and there's no reporting criteria to the IRS. I don't have to tell them that you did anything, right? This isn't like, all it is a liquidation off ramp. That's all Embly is. It's a liquidation off ramp. Of course, if there's a blacklisted address, like from a hack, the Binance hack, or anything that would, let's say, be shielded by any major blockchain, like basically anything that's been big, any address that's known. There's like maybe 25 addresses known in the US that are definitely hacker wallets or something. So we have to you know, we have to abide by certain laws, right? But it's like only like 25 wallet addresses, and they were all known like big hacks or something, you know. So yeah, it's pretty simple.
Very cool.
Yeah, yeah. But I'll be sure we'll update you. You know, what the laws are clear. The landscape is going to change, and you know, one thing I can say is, you know, this is a Bitcoiner running a Bitcoin company, so it's like I'm going to try to, you know, push back as long and hard as I can. You know, so this is something I do look forward to. You know, we're trying to make Bitcoin take over here. So yeah, I'm excited. You know, we're pushing the bounds, and you know, I expect to help. You know, however, whatever that means. So yeah, there won't be any, at least up front, no blockchain forensics. You know, strongly against that. But I do always encourage people to be due diligent Bitcoiners. I started in 2017 when the Lightning Network took 15 different pages to download 15 different things and understand different directions. You know, I learned my due diligence, right? If everyone does their proper utilizing CoinJoins or Whirlpool, and they're doing all this stuff, and you know, they're going to be able to use this service, I think, quite well. You know, so I do think it's a great advantage too.
I think it's important for people to know that there are financial services laws in the United States that a lot of these companies, you cannot avoid that. No matter how much you would like to, you know, there are laws that you have to operate by or you're going to not be in business anymore. And people think that that's some kind of choice, and it's not. So
yeah. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, I'm the good thing is you're dealing with the guy that'll put up a fight, and you know, look, all it costs is money to hire lawyers, you know. So that's one thing I want to make sure that, you know, this is a company that I want to make sure we are building a better ecosystem for like the future. We know what the future ends, and you know what I mean. Bitcoin wins, so this is all about Bitcoin, baby. But here, Tone, did you want to come over and wrap things up?
Oh yeah, we're gonna wrap things up.
I know Tone's looking, you know, pacing over there. I'm gonna let Tone
Yeah,
go.
because it's time to cook real food. I think the camera's following you.
I keep talking with my hands.
Tone, you gonna join the survivor pool?
I don't know. I don't really care much for like sports pools and stuff.
It's just fun. It's just a fun thing to do with fellow Bitcoiners. You don't have to know about sports.
I mean, I know about sports. I just don't. All right, let me see. If the camera following me? Yeah, it's following. All right, Joe's got a cigar. No, we'll do it in a little bit. Still got plenty to go. Trying not to get family members on camera, but right now I'm gonna show you guys what we're gonna be grilling. And then we're gonna cut the stream. I'm gonna go to full screen. As long as I'm the one that's talking, I think it's gonna be on the big screen, or it should be on the big screen. I don't see myself on the big screen. Hold on. I'm gonna put the focus on me. Spotlight. Boom. Okay. Am I gonna zoom out? No, zoom in. Okay, that's fine. Show you guys what's going on the grill. Well, the grill is just still smoky. Okay, I'm gonna walk this way. 1 second.
hey, you
Joe's
guys,
mic.
I'm out. Tone, I'll see you in Bernoulli this week. Have a good weekend. Bye, Joe. See you guys.
Мьют. Папа, может, отойдешь от камеры? Я
Yeah,
знаю,
turn her off mute.
осталось, оставь. Потом доделаем.
Don't speak Russian.
Я знаю. All right, so let me.
No, now you're back on mute, Tone. You did it backward.
I'm off mute, right?
You're
Yep,
still
I'm
live.
off mute.
Yeah. There you
Okay,
go.
cool. All right, so let me show you guys what So for those of you that don't do barbecues often, man, when I finally bought this thing, it is freaking awesome. This is a coal fire starter. All right, for those of you that don't know what this is, for like $15, this is gonna make your life so easy. So you put some newspaper, like 2 or 3 pieces of newspaper there, you fill this up with coals, and all you gotta do is light that newspaper and just let them sit. And all the coals are gonna be burned through, and then you throw them onto your grill. So that's what we're doing. Is the camera
Yeah.
following me now?
It's not, but
It's not
yeah, I
following,
use one of
huh?
those, and they're great.
All right.
They're so much better than lighter fluid.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's following me. So I usually do this over my fireplace. I should probably zoom into the camera. Is he gonna recognize it?
Yeah, it's following pretty well.
There it is. There's the zoom.
Oh, that's a cool feature.
I got this thing here. Nope. Yeah, we're good. Simple. Is it still not following me? There we go. So the useful thing is we're not even going to do a lot of coals. You got that lighter, Joe? Oh, it's right there.
I had to use a stick.
Oh, is it over? Oh, I'll use a stick. I'll light a stick real quick. No, I'm good. I got it. I got it. I got it. All we got to do is light this. Once it decides to light. Start me up. I got it. This is more fun because all we have to do is just light newspaper. I know. Because all you got to do is light the newspaper and you're done. And that's all you need to get all the coals. I don't know if you guys saw that, but once you get that newspaper going under the coals, that's it. Give it like 20 minutes and all the coals are going to burn through. It's the simplest thing ever to light your coals. Whoever invented this was a freaking genius. The most simplest thing to just light coals. No, nothing else needed. So what are we cooking? So right now, we have a bone and ribeye that's gonna go right next to the ribs. And again, shrimp in my marinade, butter, garlic, lemon juice, and got a bunch of skewers with shrimp. And then of course there'll be burgers and sausages for whoever wants those. So
Oh,
that's
you're making
it.
me hungry.
Yeah, that's the plan. And the camera doesn't want to follow me again. All right, guys, I'm going to zoom the camera out. I'm going to zoom the camera out. And we're going to say goodbye from the woods as we're about to start grilling. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.
See you.